Hello everyone, my name's Andrew Almack. I am the CEO of Plastics for Change. And we are addressing three of society's biggest problems: plastic pollution, poverty, and climate destabilization. My journey started with a trip to Cambodia, where I became absolutely fascinated trying to understand how people living on just a few dollars a day weren't able to make more than that by picking up and selling all of the discarded plastics that are so abundant in developing economies. This journey then led me to India, where I've been working with an amazing team to implement a program that does two things. One is creating the livelihoods for the informal waste workers, and working with brands and manufacturers to transition them towards a circular economy. So this initiative is all about helping to design more socially and environmentally responsible supply chains, but also improving the quality of the plastic and doubling the commodity value of recycled plastic. So if you're a waste picker today, you're faced with three main problems in your day-to-day livelihood. The one is you don't necessarily know how much you're going to get paid because the price is so volatile. It's common to see a 30 or even 60% volatility in the price. And then you don't necessarily know when you're going to get paid because you sell to this network of informal scrap shops or segregation centers who don't have bank accounts and will often need to wait until the end buyer in the supply chain settles before they have the cash to then pay the waste picker. So the unpredictability is really hard. And also the informal waste economy is very exploitative in general, just with varying degrees of social and economic indenturement that can happen in the supply chains. So our approach is we work with brands and manufacturers, and we stabilize the price of the source stock they use in their manufacturing process. And by hedging the price, we're then able to have a network of deal coordinators who engage with the aggregators. And we can guarantee that it's profitable for them because the price is not going to fall. And we work to provide the availability of working capital finance through our technology to ensure that everyone in the supply chain is getting paid on time in full, and ultimately ensuring that the waste pickers have a fair, consistent income opportunity. And by building this trust and economic inclusion for the waste pickers, it allows us to then also stack in access to social services and financial inclusion strategies to target this vulnerable demographic. So in summary, we're helping to change the social and environmental impact of plastic, and we want to scale this throughout Asia, eventually Africa and South America. Thank you.
We have now arrived at the Q&A session. Question from judges will begin now.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. Very excited to hear about your company, especially now with the movement against plastic. And my question is more about supply and demand. How do you ensure the supply or the tonnage required by your companies who have signed up with you?
Yeah, so right now our platform demand is sold out. We have markets for at least 50,000 metric tons of plastic, which is billions of bottles. Our challenge now is scaling out the supply capacity, which is done through a franchisee model. So we partner with the plastic aggregators and make life very easy for them to not only have de-risked high-value markets, but also the system where they're able to connect and have increased loyalty and repeat business through the informal recycling economy. And with regards to the actual fulfilling the orders, our whole secret sauce is improving the quality of the material. So by building the transparency and accountability through the supply chain, we're able to implement a very robust quality assurance process at each stage with the incentives to go along with that. And in the informal recycling economy today, everyone's just constantly cheating and lying to each other, which creates very low quality plastic. In fact, it generally sells for 30 to 50% less because it's downcycled and it's made into low value applications like furniture or blocks. So simply by implementing the quality assurance process, we're able to double the value of the commodity and use that to leverage the incentives through the supply chain and reward the social and economic and environmental behaviors of the stakeholders through a rating system.
Thank you.
And I wanna ask more about that. Like, how do you control the qualities?
Yeah, so at each stage, we implement a quality assurance process. So for example, when the scrap shops sell to the wholesalers, sometimes they'll try to have it way more by putting contaminants in there. So we're able to measure the yield rate and issue bonus payments by having the data on the platform itself. And then everything goes through a final quality assurance process at our franchisee partners where we're implementing ISO standards for quality assurance. And then we also connect this very defragmented ecosystem to only the most advanced processing facilities. So we've actually created several breakthroughs for the plastics industry in India, including food grade, the first of its kind food grade PET, REACH and ROS compliant ABS, which is the first of its kind in India, and 100% recycled bottles for large FMCG companies.
Yes, I want to ask the question that are there any substitution for the plastic in some case that something like this to be used longer and practical use in especially in rural area in this developing country in the world?
Yeah, there are bioplastics that exist, but bioplastics don't have mass adoption because they're much more expensive. So we're able to price it on par, if not cheaper, than the virgin equivalent. And also, bioplastics are very hard to close the loop. If you recycle bioplastics with other polymers, it ruins the entire batch with the carbon contamination. So the way to address the root cause of plastic pollution is getting the recycling infrastructures to the communities where burning and dumping is the primary disposal method. And how you do that is really twofold. You need to create a system for getting the supply, creating the livelihoods for those, especially at the base of the supply chain, and then you need to create the demand. You need to actually convince the industry to adopt recycled plastic instead of virgin plastic, and that's exactly what our platform is doing, and we're partnering using this model to bring technology, bring a turnkey system for the implementation of the recycling infrastructure into these communities.
And just one more question. As you draw more workers from the informal economy, they are obviously competing with their former colleagues, let's say, who stay in the informal economy for 30 to 40% lower prices. Do you incentivize the companies demanding the higher quality plastic to compete against those plastic pickers at 30 to 40% lower?
Well, we incentivize access to the high-value markets through a rating system similar to, well, any other platform, the 5-star rating system, where we have social, environmental, and economic performance that we monitor. And so, for example, stakeholders, the waste management industry does have a variety of stakeholders that use, yeah.
I'll ask you later.
Okay.